Well, friends, I finally did it. I hit my first 100 subscribers on YouTube. A big welcome to all of my new followers, and I do hope that you'll find something good out of this channel and that will continue to grow. As promised, in celebration of hitting 100 subscribers, I am going to take you through my first 100 holy places. This isn't a top 100, we're actually going to go in order of when I visited them, so you can kind of follow my travels a little bit. I'll share a little tidbit of information for each, but I'm going to try and get through them as quickly as possible so this video isn't an hour long. So, you ready? 100 holy places. Here we go. Number 1 is the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. A church dedicated to Saints Peter and Paul, this neo-Gothic church is one of America's most famous churches and has a lot of fun little secrets. Number 2 is the Salt Lake City Temple. Built over the course of 40 years by early Latter-day Saints, this temple is the most famous of the LDS temples and is visited by millions of people every year. Number 3 is the Provo Temple, also in Utah. Located on a small hill just off of Brigham Young University campus, this temple serves those training to be missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Number 4 is the Lotus Temple in Spanish Fork, Utah. This Hare Krishna temple holds one of the largest holy festivals outside of India. Number 5 is the Mount Timpanogos Temple in American Fork, Utah. The 9th temple in the state of Utah, this one is surprisingly new, having been dedicated in 1996 by Gordon B. Hinckley. Number 6 is the Cathedral of the Madeleine in Salt Lake City. Sitting just down the road from the Salt Lake Temple, this stunning cathedral boasts a choir that has sung at places such as Notre Dame in Paris and St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Number 7 is the San Diego Temple. A very distinctive and unique temple, this is the furthest south of all the operating California temples. Number 8 is Grace Cathedral in San Francisco. Founded during the San Francisco Gold Rush and then lost to the Great Earthquake in 1906, this cathedral was reconstructed and reopened in 1934. Also in San Francisco, number 9 is Saints Peter and Paul. Known as the Italian Cathedral of the West, this church has long served the Italian-American community and offers services in English, Italian, and now Cantonese. We move on to Europe. Number 10 is the Berliner Dom in Berlin, Germany. Once the spot of a castle chapel for the Berlin Palace, the current cathedral is the largest Protestant church in Germany. Number 11 is the Schloss Charlottenburg Chapel, also in Berlin. This tiny but opulent Baroque chapel is located inside the Charlottenburg Palace itself. We head to Vienna now, where I did spend a little bit of time and captured quite a few churches. Sitting at number 12 is the Karlskirche. Commissioned by Holy Roman Emperor Charles VI, this Baroque beauty was built in gratitude for deliverance from the Great Plague. Number 13 is the Stephansdom. One of the finest examples of Gothic architecture in Vienna, the church was later discovered to be built on an ancient cemetery dating back to the 4th century. Number 14 is the Franziskanerkirche, also known as the Church of St. Jerome. This church began in 1603 and is Renaissance on the outside and Baroque on the inside. Number 15 is the Annakirche. This Baroque church holds a relic of St. Anne, specifically her right hand, which is displayed on her feast day yearly on July 26th. Number 16 is the Peterskirche. Another stunning Baroque church, the Peterskirche is believed to stand on the spot of the oldest church in Vienna, though nothing remains of the original building. Number 17 is the Griechenkirche. I was introduced to this church by a local, not actually knowing about it beforehand, and it was the first Orthodox church I ever visited. This church is dedicated to the Holy Trinity. Number 18 is Maria am Gestade. Translated to Mary at the Shore and rumored to be built on the spot of a church frequented by fishermen and sailors, this is another of Vienna's few Gothic churches. Number 19 is the Minoritenkirche. Designed in a French Gothic style, this church once belonged to the city's Italian community. Number 20 is the Michaelerkirche. The altar of this church is one of the last major Baroque pieces created in Vienna. Number 21 is the Augustinerkirche. A church dating back to the 14th century, several Habsburg weddings took place here, including the marriage of Archduchess Marie-Louise to Napoleon in 1810. Today, a functioning monastery of 6 black-robed Augustinian monks continue to serve the parish. Number 22 is the Votivkirche. Not a true Gothic, but rather a neo-Gothic church, the Votivkirche dates back to the late 19th century and has its origins in a failed assassination attempt. Number 23 is the Schottenkirche. The High Baroque church belongs to a parish originally founded by Irish and Scottish Benedictine monks. Number 24 is the Servitenkirche. Completed in 1677, this Baroque church was the only one outside the inner city to survive the Turkish siege of 1683. Number 25 is the Dominikanerkirche. Suffering damages from the first Turkish siege in 1529, the church was redesigned with Baroque elements and ceiling frescoes, including depictions of great Christian battle victories. Number 26 is the Jesuitenkirche, a Baroque church with a ceiling that employs a forced perspective technique known as quadratura. Number 27 is the Maria-Treu-Kirche, also known as the Piaristenkirche. This church once played host to Haydn. Number 28 is Melk Abbey in Melk, Austria, not far from Vienna. This incredibly opulent church, once a castle, sits atop a high hill looking over the Danube River. Number 29 is the Klosterneuburg Monastery in Klosterneuburg, Austria. Another castle-turned monastery, this is one of the most glorious Baroque churches in Austria and also houses Austria's oldest winery. We move outside of the Vienna area, and number 30 is St. Florian in St. Florian just outside of Linz, Austria. This Baroque basilica is the largest monastery in Upper Austria. Moving to Salzburg, number 31 is the Salzburg Dome, or the Salzburg Cathedral. This Baroque cathedral was originally dedicated to St. Rupert and St. Virgilius and still contains the baptismal font where Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was baptized. Number 32 is Salzburg's Franziskanerkirche. One of the oldest churches in Salzburg, the largely Gothic interior features 9 chapels done in the Baroque style. Number 33 is St. Peter's, also in Salzburg. Dedicated in 1147 and remodeled in various styles throughout the centuries, this church houses the tombs of Mozart's sister Maria Anna and the brother of Joseph Haydn, Johann. Moving into Innsbruck, we have number 34, starting with the Servitenkirche. Dedicated to St. Joseph, the original church was donated by the widow of Archduke Ferdinand II. Number 35 is the Landhauskapelle. This is a very small Baroque church founded in the 1700s, also known as the Georgskapelle or Church of St. George. Located not far from the Servitenkirche, it's got some beautiful details in a large, simple interior. Number 36 is the Spitalskirche. Known as the hospital church due to its original placement adjacent to a hospital, this lovely Baroque church has busts of the 12 apostles with symbols of their martyrdom. Number 37 is the Mariahilfkirche. Dedicated to the Virgin Mary, this church was built in the 1600s in gratitude for sparing the city of Innsbruck in the 30 Years' War, one of the longest and most brutal religious wars in European history. Number 38 is the Dom zu St. Jacob. Known by various names including the Cathedral of St. James and simply Innsbruck Cathedral, this is one of Innsbruck's most beautiful Baroque cathedrals. Number 39 is Innsbruck's Hofkirche. The court church of Innsbruck is the only Gothic church I saw in the city and contains 28 life-size bronze statues of historical figures. Number 40 is the Basilica Wilton, also known as Our Lady Under the Four Pillars. This Rococo church is considered the mother parish of the city of Innsbruck. Number 41 is Stift Wilton, not to be confused with Basilica Wilton. The sister church to the Basilica Wilton and located almost right next door to it, this monastery is still home to 30 friars and 21 priests. We go back to the U.S., and number 42 is St. Ignatius Parish in San Francisco. This is a university chapel belonging to the University of San Francisco and run by local Jesuits. Number 43 is the Cathedral of St. Matthew the Apostle in D.C. Not nearly as well known as the National Cathedral, St. Matthew's is the seat of the Archbishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Washington. Number 44 is the Basilica of the Sacred Heart in South Bend, Indiana, a neo-Gothic university chapel on Notre Dame campus. Number 45 is St. Joseph in San Jose, California. This minor basilica is named for the same patron saint that the city itself is named for. For number 46, we go back to Europe and hit Westminster Abbey in London, England. This Anglican church has seen 39 coronations, 16 royal weddings, and is the burial site for 18 English, Scottish, and British monarchs. Moving to Paris, we have number 47. Our first stop is Notre Dame. easily one of the most iconic and well-known churches in the world and an exquisite example of Gothic architecture. Number 48 is Sainte-Chapelle, also in Paris. This royal chapel is actually two chapels in one, the upper being the more spectacular of the two. Number 49 is L'Invalide. Known as the House of Invalids, this church is part of a complex built for the retirement and care of war veterans. The church houses the tomb of Napoleon. Number 50 takes us to New York and St. Patrick's Cathedral in Manhattan. This church, located on Fifth Avenue just across from the Rockefeller Center, is a beautiful example of neo-Gothic architecture and is the seat of the Archbishop of New York. Number 51 is the St. George LDS Temple. While the Salt Lake Temple was begun before the one in St. George was the first LDS temple completed and dedicated in the state of Utah. Number 52 is the Mesa Temple, the 7th LDS temple in the country and the first in Arizona. This temple is nearly 100 years old, and wandering the grounds will lead you to beautiful, large reflecting pools. Number 53 is the Idaho Falls Temple, the first LDS temple built in the state of Idaho, which now has 6 with another 3 on the way. The unique spire design was the first of its kind in the church. Number 54 is the Oquirrh Mountain Temple, one of 2 temples in South Jordan, Utah. The spire was struck by lightning in 2009, and the angel Moroni had to be replaced. Number 55 is the Oakland Temple in California. This is one of 7 temples currently operating in the state, with 3 more currently announced or under construction. Number 56 is the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Savannah, Georgia. This stunning French Gothic church was the first building in Georgia constructed of brick and boasts 81 stained glass windows and 16 gargoyles. Number 57 is the Laie Temple on the island of Oahu. Dedicated in 1919, this temple sits on a hill only an easy half-mile from the ocean. Number 58 is the Draper Temple, one of Utah's newer temples only dedicated in 2009. The Draper Temple sits high on a hill and can easily be seen brightly lit at night from the highway between Provo and Salt Lake City. Number 59 is St. Anthony of Padua Parish in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Built in the early 1900s for French-Canadian Catholics, the church holds 32 20-foot angel statues throughout. Number 60 is St. Sophia in Los Angeles. This stunning Greek Orthodox church, a relic of old Hollywood, is a mix of Byzantine revival and Renaissance revival. Number 61 is the Wat Damaram in Kissimmee, Florida. Established in 1993, fundraising for this Buddhist temple started in Thailand. Number 62 is St. Joseph in San Antonio, Texas. Located just a block or so away from the famous Alamo, this Catholic parish refused to budge for urban expansion, and a mall was subsequently built around it. Number 63 is St. Mary's in Austin, Texas. With its origins in the Irish Catholic community, with a church named for St. Patrick, the parish eventually incorporated German Catholics, and the new church was named St. Mary's. Number 64 is St. Mary of the Assumption in New Orleans, Louisiana. Built in Baroque Revival and Victorian architectural styles, this church has sustained damage from a variety of hurricanes over the years, but still continues to be preserved by its parishioners. Number 65 is St. Patrick's, also in New Orleans. Situated not far from the famous French Quarter, this Gothic Revival church is the second oldest parish in the city after the St. Louis Cathedral. Number 66 is the Basilica of the Immaculate Conception in Jacksonville, Florida. The original building dates back to the mid-1800s, was destroyed during the Civil War, was rebuilt, and was again destroyed in a Great Fire in 1901. The current building dates back only to 1910 and was named a minor basilica in 2013. Number 67 is St. Jude's in Tequesta, Florida, a very modern church with a simple interior that makes excellent use of color with shards of stained glass. Number 68 is St. Edward's in Palm Beach. This Spanish Renaissance church boasts gorgeous carved marble altars and hand-painted frescoes, including the ceiling. Number 69 is the Unitarian Church in Charleston, South Carolina. The oldest Unitarian Universalist church in South Carolina and the second oldest building on the Charleston Peninsula, the most incredible feature of this church is the intricate fan vaulting of the pale blue ceiling. Number 70 is St. John the Baptist in Charleston, South Carolina. You can see the spires of this Gothic Revival church from the Unitarian Church. The brownstone exterior holds much lighter interior, which was recently renovated to include more color in the ceiling. Number 71 is St. Joseph's in Macon, Georgia. This Roman Catholic church has the tallest twin towers in Macon, features 60 stained glass windows, and my personal favorite feature would be the two side chapels, one in red, the other in blue. Number 72 is Wat Lao Buddha in Conley, Georgia. Located in a suburb of Atlanta just a few miles from the airport, this was built by and for local Laotian Buddhists. Number 73 is the Hindu temple in Lilburn, Georgia. One of only 6 of these types of temples in North America. The craftsmanship is pretty incredible. Number 74 is the Atlanta LDS Temple. The first LDS temple built in the southeastern United States, this smaller temple was dedicated in the early 80s. Number 75 is the Basilica of St. Augustine in St. Augustine, Florida. This Spanish Renaissance church is home to the first Catholic parish in the country. Number 76 is the Tiffany Chapel, which is located actually in the Morse Museum in Winter Park, Florida. A combination of Byzantine and Romanesque architecture, the chapel was originally built by Tiffany for St. John the Divine Cathedral in New York City, but was not deemed to fit the style for that church. Number 77 is the Church of the Holy Family in Columbus, Georgia, a Gothic revival church that is relatively simple but has beautiful stained glass windows. Number 78 is the ancient Spanish monastery in North Miami Beach, an actual monastery from Spain that was taken apart piece by piece and reconstructed in Florida. 79 is the Orlando Temple in Windermere, Florida. This was one of only 2 temples dedicated by Howard W. Hunter along with the Bountiful Utah Temple. Number 80 is the Wat Kumarasamy Ratnanaram in Jacksonville, Florida, one of the largest Buddhist temples in the United States. Many of the elements of this particular Wat were imported directly from Cambodia. Number 81 is Wat Kantayaram, also in Jacksonville. It is the second Cambodian Buddhist temple that I did find in Jacksonville. This one also has a variety of little shrines around the exterior. Number 82 is the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church in Maitland, Florida. Serving the greater Orlando area, this Orthodox church is covered in stunningly colorful iconography telling biblical stories of Christ. Number 83 is the Hindu temple in Tampa, Florida. Completed in 1996, this 70-foot-tall temple was built by Hindus from Chennai, India. Number 84 is the Hindu Society of Central Florida in Castleberry, Florida. This temple was built by the local Hindu community as a place of worship of their own. Prior to that, they were allowed to meet at a local Lutheran church. The temple opened in 2005. Number 85 is the Sacred Heart Church in Tampa, Florida. This Romanesque church was built in 1905 and is one of the oldest churches in Tampa. It sits on the spot of an older church named for a Dominican missionary martyred on the shores of Tampa Bay. Number 86, we have another Sacred Heart Church, the Basilica of the Sacred Heart of Jesus in Atlanta, Georgia. Designed in French Romanesque style, this was designated a minor basilica in 2010. Number 87 is the Sri Venkateswara Temple in Cary, North Carolina. A very recent addition to the area, this Hindu temple was dedicated in 2009 with a ceremony called a Prana Pratishtha, which invites a deity to live in the temple. The deity chosen is the god of wealth and well-being. Number 88 is the Provo City Center Temple, the second temple in Provo, Utah. Originally the Provo Tabernacle, the building burned down in a fire and was later restored and rebuilt as an LDS temple, preserving its history and meeting a need for more temple work in that area. Number 89 is the Duke University Chapel in Durham, North Carolina. Located in the center of Duke University campus, this collegiate Gothic church was designed by African-American architect Julian Francis Abel. Number 90 is the Van Hahn Pagoda in Raleigh, North Carolina. This hidden gem of Raleigh is colorful both inside and out, with a variety of painted statues outside and various golden Buddhas inside. Number 91 is St. Francis Xavier in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Completed in 1870, St. Francis Xavier is the oldest church building in Parkersburg and one of the 4 original churches of the Archdiocese of Wheeling. Number 92 is the Palace of Gold in Moundsville, West Virginia. Opened in 1979, this Hare Krishna temple and residence complex was built entirely by devotees who taught themselves various skills, including the making of stained glass, in order to complete their work. Number 93 is the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, D.C. This shrine, elevated to minor basilica status by Pope John Paul II in 1990, is the largest Catholic church building in North America and includes 82 Marian chapels. Number 94 is St. Luke's Ordinariate Parish in Fort Washington, Maryland. A D.C. area church, it is often overlooked and is little known, but its history dates back to the 1890s. Number 95 is St. Mary's Church in Annapolis, Maryland. Dating to the mid-1800s, St. Mary's has a stunning blue vaulted ceiling, and the wooden altar features 5 figures of religious significance. Number 96 is the Basilica of the Assumption in Baltimore, Maryland. Known as America's first cathedral, Thomas Jefferson himself helped determine some of the architectural elements of this church. Number 97 is the Presbyterian Church on First and Franklin, also in Baltimore. This Victorian Gothic church has a unique pink interior and utilizes a type of suspended column which opens the space up but gives the illusion of a full floor-to-ceiling column. Number 98 is the Brown Memorial Church in Baltimore. Shaped like an overturned ship, this church boasts several marvelous Tiffany stained glass windows. Number 99 is St. Adalbert in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Over a century old, this church serves the Polish Catholic community of Philadelphia. And finally, number 100, St. Peter the Apostle in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Essentially 2 churches in one. There is the main chapel above and the John Neumann Shrine below. Well, 100 down, 900 to go, and then I just want to keep on going. Thanks for all the support so far, and I hope you found some good churches in this video to visit. Talk to you next time.